Hello everyone, it's SpawnPoiint and today we are taking a look at the cheapest PS5 accessories worth buying. So whether you've just got a PS5 or you're wanting to upgrade your PlayStation 5 setup, we're going to check out the best budget-friendly accessories for it. And there are some awesome ones to show you today. As always, I've linked to everything down below along with putting the prices on screen. So hopefully there are a few items in here that you want to add to your own setup. Right, let's start with customizing the look of the PlayStation 5. So it doesn't matter whether you've got the original PS5, the PS5 Slim, or the PS5 Pro, because as I'm sure you know, you can replace the covers on the side. Now you can of course buy the official ones from Sony for around £45 or $55, but we want to spend less than that, so I picked up a third-party alternative which comes in a lot cheaper. So this here is a replica 30th anniversary set of covers which will fit the Slim PS5, but they also have them available for the original and the Pro as well. And I'll tell you what, once installed, it almost resembles the official 30th anniversary design. I mean, it's got the same grey colour, the retro PlayStation icon at the top, and the 30th anniversary logo at the bottom. And from a distance, this looks pretty good. It's only when you look closely do you realise that these are in fact stickers and not engraved into the plate. But this isn't bad for £16. Just for the sake of comparison, here's how it looks side by side with the official 30th anniversary PS5. I mean, this is pretty close. This is also a really cool way of getting those limited edition covers like the Spider-Man 2, which always goes out of stock straight away. Plus, this is far cheaper than the official ones. Now, I was also tempted to pick up a black set of PS5 Pro plates, as that is definitely something that we need next. But I'm still rocking the 30th design on this one, so I'm going to stick with that for now. And next up, we've got to talk about controllers. So if you're looking for a cheap way to change the look of your DualSense without having to buy a new one, you can now get these complete silicone wraps. So I picked up the Spider-Man 2 themed one, which comes in this nice Spider-Man box, and then inside we get the silicone sleeve and a sticker for the touchpad. All you need to do is wrap this around the controller, which is quite a snug fit, and then apply the sticker to the touchpad on the top. And boom, we have got a cheap Spider-Man 2 looking controller in the setup. And you know what, as it's got this rubbery texture to it, it's actually more grippy than the standard controller. Now, it's not going to pass as a real limited edition controller, but it's pretty close. Obviously, you could fit this to a black or a white controller and you would get different looks with the button colours. But yeah, this actually looks really nice. Now, I'm using the Spider-Man 2 one here, but there are loads of different designs that you can pick up which are still cheaper than buying a new controller each time you want a new look. Okay, then we have the charging dock. So the one that I would normally go for are the official PlayStation ones that are around £25. But a couple of years ago, I found one of these from PowerA. It's actually officially licensed by PlayStation, which means it comes with the proper PlayStation branding and they fit the controllers perfectly on the top. Honestly, I've tried so many other brands over the years, and it's amazing how many of those don't line up properly or don't feel as solid when they are docked. So once again, it will fit 2 controllers in here, including the Edge controller as well. And if you're using the original white PS5 covers, this will fit right into your setup as well. Plus it comes in a little cheaper than the official dock, so you're saving yourself some money there for a dock that looks just as nice, if not better than the original dock. Okay, this next one is really cool. This is a power bank for your controller. So it slots into the top of your DualSense and literally doubles the battery duration, meaning you can play for longer without needing to stop. Definitely something we could all do with. Like, how many times have you been mid-game and it flashes up with controller battery low? And you'll ignore it 2 to 3 times, and then it goes flat and it's now too late. Now, even if you're using the charging dock that I mentioned before, you can't just stop mid-game and then stick it on charge. Of course, you could use it wired, which would let you continue to play while you're charging it at the same time. But then you'd need to make sure that the USB cable was long enough to reach your PS5. Not much use if you're sitting on the sofa. Well, this little battery pack just clicks into the top and plugs into the USB-C port here. And the little connector even moves up and down so it will fit both the DualSense and the DualSense Edge controllers. It's also got a USB-C port here for keeping it charged up, and then LEDs so you can see how much battery is remaining. Honestly, I think this is a great little accessory and something that I can see being useful for quite a lot of us. So yeah, if you fancy doubling your battery duration and don't really want to use it wired, this is a great alternative. And did you know that you can play keyboard and mouse on the PS5? No? Well, if you plug in a USB keyboard and mouse, you can only use it for searching around the PlayStation Store, typing out messages to your mates, but you can also use it for playing games as well. This means if you are a PC gamer or just someone who wants to give keyboard and mouse a go, you can plug these in and play games like this. Now, I am a controller player at heart, so don't judge me here, but I jumped on Black Ops 6 to see how it would work, and this played surprisingly well. Like, once you're sitting at a desk with a keyboard and mouse, it kind of feels like you're on a PC. And you don't need to spend big money for this to work. Like, the keyboard and mouse setup that I've got here cost me £20. That is £20 for both. Sure, it's not mechanical and it's not even a brand I've ever even heard of, but it does what I need it to do on the PS5. It's also got different colour modes like red, purple and blue. Blue is definitely the one it needs to be on the PlayStation 5. So yeah, if you fancy giving keyboard and mouse a go on the PS5, try a cheap setup first and see how you get on. There's always a time to move up to something from Corsair or Logitech, plus this is roughly the same price as one of those controller keyboards, but you're getting a full keyboard here to use. Okay, now this one is for the true PlayStation fans. So about a month ago, I shared this photo over on X, and it got a lot more interest than I ever expected, so I wanted to include it in today's video. Now, this is a retro PlayStation 1 themed phone case, and it's actually a really simple but awesome design. So it's got the original PS1 image on the back here with the retro logo in the middle, and even the little power and open buttons printed on it as well. And it has definitely become my all-time favourite looking case. Now, it's still of course a normal silicone case, so it's got all of the buttons and cutouts as you would expect, and it actually feels really nice to hold as well. The only downside though is the fact that this is not a MagSafe case. So if you are using MagSafe chargers or accessories, this won't work with that, unfortunately. Now, that is a real shame, but it's still a great looking design. And just to let you know, I am using it on my 16 Pro Max, but they have it in various phone sizes and different phone types if you want to check that out. And if you're looking for a cheaper PlayStation Portal alternative, I've got you. These are mobile gaming controllers that you can use with your phone to play the PS5. Now, I have said this before, but the easiest and the best way to play your PS5 or your PS5 games away from the setup is with the PlayStation Portal, but those are about £200. And today's video is all about spending less or doing the same thing on a budget, and that's where these accessories come in handy. So first up is the Backbone 1 controller. This is probably the most popular choice to go for, as it's branded and licensed by PlayStation, and it works really well. So you slide it open, pop your phone in, and you can now use it to play your PS5 via the Remote Play app. But the only issue for me is it's quite small, and I find the thumbsticks and the triggers across the top a little too small to hold while gaming. And that is what leads me onto these two. So we've got the Scuf Nomad and the GameSir S8 controllers. These are pretty close in terms of the features they offer and how they feel. And although I think the Scuf Nomad is the better overall controller, I think the price point of the GameSir S8 puts it in my best budget accessory to go for. I mean, I think the Nomad rear buttons and the actual triggers across the top are perfect, as it feels like a proper controller. But this here is the better all-rounder cheap controller to go for. So just like the other two, you can slot your phone in and use this as a mobile and remote play gaming accessory. You can log into your PS5 and you can play your games while you're away from home. So I actually tested this out on a few different games, including GT7 and Astrobot, and it is a really good experience. I mean, it's no DualSense controller, but being able to turn your mobile into a portable gaming machine just like this is pretty cool. But if you want to go even more budget than this, we have one of these. So assuming you've already got a DualSense controller and a phone, you can just buy a cheap £10 clip that attaches to your controller and will let you sit your phone on the top. This way, you're still getting the same DualSense features and you're only spending about $10 on the item. It's not a bad option if you don't think you're going to game away from the setup often and you don't want to spend much on it. Okay, and next up is one of these, a 1TB SSD which will install inside the PS5. Now, this is the most expensive item in today's video, but it's the cheapest that I could find that met the correct read-write speed and is reliable. Now, when it comes to adding extra storage to the PS5, you can either plug in an external SSD into the USB drive, which will instantly add more space, but you can only store your PS5 games on it, not play them from it. Or you can use an M.2 drive and install that inside the console. This way, you've more than doubled your storage, you don't have any cables hanging out the back, and you can play your game straight from this extra drive. So I picked up the Crucial P310 with a heatsink, as it meets all of the minimum specs from PlayStation, and it slots straight into the SSD slot inside the console. Now, I have made a video on how to install these, but essentially you just pop the cover off, remove this screw and metal plate, make sure the spacer is lined up, slot the new drive in and screw that into place. Now remember that by adding one of these, it expands the storage we already have. It doesn't just replace it. But once we've added the cover back on, we have now got another 1TB installed, which is just enough space for the new Warzone update next month. Another cool accessory for your setup has got to be one of these. So this is an officially licensed stand which you can use to either hold your mobile phone or a controller. So this is made by Cable Guys, who are the same people who make controller holders that look like this. But I much prefer this new one as it's got that 30th anniversary vibe going on, which is similar to the range that we saw from PlayStation last year. So we've got the light grey frame with the retro logo on the corner, along with the triangle, circle, X and square icons on the top. It definitely has a cool enough design that you can either use this as a holder for your phone or controller, or just use it sitting in your setup. And if you didn't like the retro look, they also do an all-white version as well. Oh, and it also comes with a USB cable that once plugged in, you can turn these lights on and use it like a mini lamp on your desk. So yeah, I really like this. It's a nice cheap accessory to add to the collection. Now, if you've got a gaming headset that doesn't happen to have a dock to charge it, you could grab one of these clips. This saves you from having to find somewhere random to hang or lie it down in your setup, as it just slots onto the side of the PS5, assuming you use it vertically. And you can now store your headset away like this each night, and I think it looks pretty neat like this as well. But they also do a slightly larger version as well, which lets you store your headset and a controller at the same time. So if you don't have a controller stand or a charging dock, you can place it on here as well. Once again, it's a simple, cheap accessory that is pretty functional and keeps the setup looking tidy. So there you have it, 10 cheap PS5 accessories that you can buy for your own gaming setup. Anything in here that you think you'll pick up, or what was your favourite item? I think the power bank for the controller is such a great idea. And I'm also a huge fan of the retro PlayStation covers as well. Now drop a cheap PS5 in the comments and I'll give you a thumbs up for staying right till the end. And before you go, check out this video next. Well, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and follow me everywhere. Until next time.